Picture this. You're sitting down to a meal, fork in hand, ready to dig into a plate of vegetables you've been told your whole life are good for you. But what if I told you that some of those so-called healthy choices are quietly sabotaging your health, especially if you're over 60? What if the very foods you trust to keep you strong and vibrant are secretly chipping away at your years? Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on 5 vegetables that might be doing more harm than good. These aren't just random picks. These are everyday staples that millions of seniors eat without a second thought, unaware of the risks piling up on their plates. Stick with me, because in this video, I'll reveal these 5 culprits, break down why they're slowly killing you, and show you how to protect yourself starting right now. You'll walk away with the knowledge to rethink your grocery list, boost your energy, and add years to your life. Ready to find out what's hiding in your kitchen? Let's dive in. First up, let's talk about a vegetable you've probably got in your pantry right now: potatoes. Yep, the humble spud. Mashed, baked, or fried. Seems innocent enough, doesn't it? It's a comfort food, a side dish at family dinners, a go-to for so many of us. But here's the kicker. Potatoes, especially white potatoes, could be one of the sneakiest threats to your health after 60. Why? It all comes down to something called the glycemic index. Potatoes rank sky high on this scale, meaning they spike your blood sugar faster than a roller coaster ride. A 2011 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that high glycemic foods like potatoes are linked to increased inflammation and a higher risk of type 2 diabetes, conditions that hit seniors harder as our bodies become less efficient at managing blood sugar. Imagine this. Every time you eat a baked potato, it's like pressing the accelerator on a car that's already low on brakes. Over time, those sugar spikes wear down your system, raising your odds of heart disease and even cognitive decline. But let's bring this closer to home. Think about the last time you had a big pile of fries or a creamy scoop of mashed potatoes. That warm, fuzzy feeling hits, right? You're full, satisfied, maybe even a little nostalgic for Sunday dinners growing up. But then, an hour or two later, do you feel that slump? That foggy brain or heavy limbs? That's not just a food coma. That's your body struggling to catch up. I met a guy named Frank, 74, at a community health talk a while back. He'd been eating potatoes almost daily, fries with lunch, roasted spuds at dinner, because they were cheap, easy, and filling. He'd laugh about his potato belly. But then his doctor diagnosed him with prediabetes, and he couldn't figure out why. When he cut back on potatoes and started experimenting with alternatives, he told me his afternoon naps disappeared. His mind felt sharper, and he even had more pep for his grandkids. What's dragging you down without you noticing? Could it be that trusty potato you've been leaning on? Now let's peel back another layer, because potatoes don't just mess with your blood sugar, they set off a chain reaction. Those spikes trigger insulin surges, and over decades, that can lead to insulin resistance, a stepping stone to diabetes. Plus, how often do you eat potatoes plain? They're usually drenched in butter, sour cream, or deep-fried in oil, piling on empty calories and unhealthy fats. A 2015 study from Circulation linked frequent potato consumption, especially fried ones, to a higher risk of hypertension and cardiovascular issues. For seniors whose hearts and arteries have already clocked years of hard work, this is like adding extra weight to a tired old bridge. Frank didn't just feel better after cutting back. He dropped his blood pressure meds down a dose and started walking his dog further each morning. Are you carrying extra strain you don't need to? And here's where it gets personal. Potatoes are a habit. They're cheap, they're versatile, they're everywhere. Think fast food, diner sides, even healthy baked potato bars. But habits can blind us. A 2016 British Medical Journal study found that people who ate potatoes 4 or more times a week had a higher mortality risk over time compared to those who didn't. That's not to say one fry will knock you out, but stack those servings up over years, and the damage compounds. Frank admitted he'd never questioned potatoes until his health forced him to. What habits are you coasting on that might need a second look? In just a moment, I'll share a swap that could flip the script. But let's keep moving. There's more on this list to unpack. Next, we've got corn. Oh, corn. It's the golden star of summer barbecues, creamed in casseroles, or popped for movie nights. But here's the harsh truth. Corn isn't the health hero you might think it is, especially as we age. Technically a grain masquerading as a vegetable, corn is loaded with sugars and starches that hit your system hard. A 2019 study from Nutrition Reviews pointed out that diets heavy in refined carbs, like the kind corn delivers, can increase chronic inflammation, a silent killer that speeds up aging. Think of inflammation like rust on an old car. A little bit might not seem like much, but let it build up, and soon the whole engine's shot. For seniors, this inflammation can mean more joint pain, a weaker immune system, and a higher risk of diseases like arthritis or even cancer. Let's paint a picture. You're at a family cookout, the grill's sizzling, and someone hands you a buttery ear of corn. It's sweet, it's juicy, it's summer in a bite. But what's happening inside? That sugar and starch combo doesn't just fade away. It feeds that rust, layer by layer. I met a woman named Clara, 69, who adored her creamed corn every Sunday. She'd brush off her stiff fingers and sore back as just part of getting older. Maybe pop an ibuprofen and call it a day. But when she learned about corn's inflammatory kick and swapped it for something gentler, she said it was like someone oiled her rusty hinges. She could knit again without wincing, even started dancing with her husband at their grandson's wedding. What's rusting you out bit by bit? Could it be that golden glow on your plate? But corn's sneakier than you think. It's not just the cob. It's in everything. Corn syrup in your soda, cornmeal in your cornbread, cornstarch thickening your gravy. A 2021 study in The Lancet tied high corn-derived sugar intake to obesity and liver strain. Another blow to aging bodies already working overtime. Clara didn't just ditch the cob. She started reading labels and was floored at how much corn she'd been eating without knowing. She'd grab a healthy granola bar, corn syrup, a quick soup, cornstarch. It was like corn had infiltrated her kitchen. Are you swallowing more of this stuff than you realize? And let's talk about digestion. As we age, our gut doesn't break down starches as efficiently, so corn can sit heavy, bloating you up or spiking gas. A 2020 Journal of Gastroenterology report noted that high-starch foods can ferment in older digestive systems, causing discomfort you might blame on something else. Clara noticed her mystery bloating vanished when she cut corn out. Turns out it wasn't age. It was her plate. What's weighing you down that you've shrugged off? We'll get to a fix soon, but first, let's tackle a veggie that's got a saintly reputation and a dark side. Let's move on to beets. Now, beets have this glowing reputation. Bright red, packed with nutrients, a superfood, right? Not so fast. While they do have antioxidants like betalains, beets come with a hidden catch. They're sky-high in oxalates. These natural compounds sound harmless, but they can bind to calcium in your body and form kidney stones, painful little rocks that seniors are already more prone to as kidney function slows with age. A 2020 report in the Journal of Urology found that diets rich in oxalates increase kidney stone risk by up to 20% in older adults. And it's not just stones. Too many oxalates can stress your kidneys over time, making it harder for them to filter waste. Picture your kidneys as a trusty old coffee maker. Pour in too much gunk, and eventually it clogs up. Let's make this real. Imagine you're slicing beets for a salad. Those deep red stains on your fingers, that earthy smell. You're feeling proud, thinking you're loading up on health. But fast forward a few years, and you're doubled over with a kidney stone. I heard this story from a friend's mom, Diane, who's 71. She was all about her beet salads, roasted beets with goat cheese, beet juice shots in the morning, because she'd read they were a miracle food. Then one night, She woke up with a pain so sharp she thought she'd been stabbed. Kidney stones, her doctor said, and beets were the prime suspect. She cut them out, and not only did the stones stop, but she felt lighter, less bogged down, like her body could breathe again. Are you brewing trouble with every vibrant bite? But it's not just kidneys. Oxalates can mess with your bones too. By binding calcium, they might pull it away from where you need it most, especially as osteoporosis risks climb after 60. A 2018 study in Bone Reports suggested that high oxalate diets could quietly weaken bone density over time. Diane didn't just dodge stones. Her next bone scan showed a slight uptick after she eased off beets. She'd been robbing her skeleton without knowing. And here's the twist. Beets are often overhyped. Sure, they got nitrates that can lower blood pressure, but a 2021 hypertension study found you can get those same benefits from leafy greens without the oxalate baggage. What's clogging your system or stealing your strength? Let's dig deeper, because beets don't just strike once. If you're eating them regularly, those oxalates build up. A 2019 nephrology dialysis transplantation study warned that chronic oxalate overload could even nudge you toward kidney disease, especially if your filtration's already slowing down. Diane admitted she'd been chugging beet juice like it was a magic potion, until it turned on her. Are you overdoing something you think is a cure? In a bit, I'll show you how to keep the good without the bad, but let's keep rolling. Another veggie's waiting to surprise you. Number 4. Bell peppers. These colorful little gems, red, yellow, green, seem like a no-brainer for a healthy diet, don't they? They're crunchy, sweet, and packed with vitamin C. But here's where it gets tricky. Bell peppers belong to the nightshade family, a group of plants that includes tomatoes and eggplants, and they contain compounds called alkaloids. For some people, especially seniors with sensitive systems, these alkaloids can trigger inflammation, joint pain, and even digestive issues. A 2017 study in clinical rheumatology noted that nightshades can worsen symptoms in folks with arthritis, a condition that affects over 50% of people over 65. Think of it like this. Every bite of bell pepper might be tossing a tiny spark into a fire that's already smoldering in your joints. Picture yourself chopping up a bell pepper for a stir-fry. Red ones for sweetness, green for bite. It's a rainbow on your plate, a burst of flavor. But what if it's sparking trouble? I knew a man named George, 66, who loved his stuffed peppers. He'd hobble around his workshop, blaming his achy hips on years of carpentry, popping painkillers like candy. Then a nutritionist friend mentioned nightshades, and George gave them up as an experiment. 3 weeks later, he was back to sanding wood with a grin, no limp in sight. His wife even joked he'd found the fountain of youth. What's sparking your aches without you realizing? And it's not just arthritis. Some folks report gut trouble too. Those alkaloids can irritate sensitive stomachs, especially as digestion slows with age. A 2019 study in gut microbes hinted that nightshades might disrupt gut flora balance in certain people, leading to bloating, gas, or worse. George didn't just feel his joints loosen up. His pepper belly, as he called it, stopped grumbling. He could eat dinner without unbuttoning his pants. But here's the catch. Not everyone reacts the same. A 2020 arthritis research and therapy study found that about 20% of older adults might be nightshade sensitive. How do you know if you're one of them? George figured it out by listening to his body. Aches that faded, digestion that settled. Are you chalking up discomfort to age when it might be your plate? Let's go further, because bell peppers sneak in everywhere. They're in your salsa, your fajitas, your roasted veggie medleys. And while they've got vitamin C, a 2022 Nutrition Journal analysis showed you can get that from citrus or broccoli without the nightshade risk. George didn't miss the crunch. He just swapped in carrots and kept on cooking. What's hiding in your favorite recipes that might be turning on you? We've got one more veggie to tackle, and it's a doozy. Stay with me. Finally, let's talk about spinach. Wait, spinach. the poster child of healthy eating, the green powerhouse Popeye swore by. Yep, I'm going there. Spinach is loaded with vitamins, sure, but it's also packed with those same oxalates we talked about with beets, sometimes even more. A 2022 study in Nutrients showed that high oxalate foods like spinach can not only raise kidney stone risk, but also interfere with calcium absorption, leaving your bones weaker when you need them strong. For seniors, this is a double whammy. Fragile bones plus stressed kidneys equal a recipe for trouble. Imagine spinach as a wolf in sheep's clothing. It looks like your friend, but it might be picking your pocket when you're not looking. Let's bring this home. Think of piling spinach into your smoothie, feeling smug about all that green goodness, maybe tossing in a handful for a salad or sautéing it with garlic. But what if it's a double-edged sword? I met a retired nurse, Evelyn, 68, who lived for her spinach omelets. She started noticing her back aching more, her legs feeling heavier, and her doctor flagged early kidney strain and a dip in bone density. When she learned about oxalates and switched to lower-risk greens, she said it was like lifting a fog. Less pain, more pep. Even her morning walks got longer. Are you trusting something that's quietly working against you? And here's the kicker. Cooking doesn't always save you. While boiling spinach can cut oxalates a bit, a 2020 food chemistry study found it's not enough to neutralize the risk if you're eating it daily or even a few times a week. Evelyn didn't just swap greens, she started mixing up her diet, and her latest checkup showed her kidneys thanking her, her bones holding steady. But let's talk quantity, because spinach is easy to overdo. A single cup raw has about 650 milligrams of oxalates, and the National Kidney Foundation warns that over 200 milligrams a day can tip the scales toward trouble for at-risk folks. Evelyn was downing 2 cups in her smoothies, way past the line. Are you piling on more than your body can handle? One more angle. Iron. Spinach gets hyped for its iron, but those oxalates block absorption, so you're not even getting the full benefit. A 2021 American Journal of Clinical Nutrition study found that spinach's iron bioavailability is laughably low, less than 2%. Evelyn thought she was fighting fatigue with spinach, but she was spinning her wheels. What's promising you health but delivering headaches? Let's wrap this up with some steps you can take today. So, what do you do with all this? You don't have to toss out every veggie in your fridge. Knowledge is power, and I'm here to arm you with it. Instead of white potatoes, try sweet potatoes in moderation. They've got a lower glycemic punch and more fiber to keep you steady. Swap corn for leafy greens like kale or collards. Less starch, more nutrients, no inflammation rust. Beets. Ease up on them, especially if you've got a kidney stone history. Go for berries instead. Same antioxidants, no oxalate overload. Bell peppers bothering your joints. Zucchini or carrots bring the crunch without the nightshade drama. And spinach. Mix it up with kale or Swiss chard. Green goodness without the bone-rotting risk. Small changes, big wins. Here's what we've uncovered today. 5 vegetables: potatoes, corn, beets, bell peppers, and spinach might be silently shaving years off your life. We've dug into the science, heard real stories from folks like Frank, Clara, Diane, George, and Evelyn, and found out how these everyday foods can hit seniors harder. You've learned how blood sugar spikes, inflammation, kidney stress, joint pain, and bone loss sneak in through your plate, and how to fight back with smarter swaps. This isn't about fear, it's about taking control. Aging is inevitable, but how you age, that's up to you. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button and subscribe for more life-changing tips to stay healthy and happy after 60. Tell me in the comments, which of these vegetables shocked you the most? Did you have a story like Frank's or Evelyn's? I read every comment, and I'd love to hear from you. Take charge of your health today. Make one swap. See how you feel. And I'll see you in the next video with more ways to live longer, stronger, and better. You've got this.